Hi, everybody. I am super excited to see everybody today. It has been a minute since I've gone live. I do apologize for that. And you have to know how much I love you because Sarah Davis and Terry Hill are in the co working space and they are talking about a post that happened today that we're not going to give traction to. And then they're also talking about the seventh grade class in Texas. So a little bit of politics going on, which is always a great space. Sometimes when you're working and you work by yourself, you don't get to have adult conversations, right? Especially those of you who work from home, who have kids at home, you never get adult conversations. So what I love about being able to have the Keystone Network is that we have adult conversations. We get to talk about different things. And not only that, but we talk about it with Dominic and Donna and a bunch of Australians who have joined our crew. Sophia from Sweden. That Reiki healer is amazing. But we get so many different viewpoints and so many different conversations. It's really good to have that adult interaction, right? When you work from home, that office life is always kind of a missing step. So give it up to the Keystone Network for creating a space where you can come in and have conversations. And we don't always have the same point of views. And Forrest called Sarah out because Sarah always asks, I'm going to ask you a question, but you don't have to answer it because she always wants to give people an out, but she wants to learn at the same time. Also, we have people who are very religious, we have people who are not very religious, we have people who are in between. And so to be able to have just adult conversations amongst people who respect each other and we're never changing people's minds. We're just having conversations on where we see the world. And so it's phenomenal. And I'm really very blessed to have such an amazing community and hope that you guys join us inside of that community as well. So today, I had a whole thing of what I want to talk about. So I want to talk about owning what you know and leaning into yourself. Some people call this imposter syndrome. Some people, there's a lot of different things that end up happening inside of that imposter syndrome. And there's a lot of things that happen inside of people requiring certificates. And, one of the things that you hear me say all the time is if you've done this for 20 years, but you didn't go and get a certificate for it, that does not mean that you are any less than that person who received a piece of paper, right? We all know there's business owners who didn't graduate high school. There's business owners who have some college, not all college. I'm one of those. When you work in the real world and you get that book knowledge, and I think I can't speak for other countries because I know that other countries have they have a system in place. I've never lived in them, so I don't know how well it works out, but they have a system in place that once you hit college, like once you get out of high school, they help you go into a field that is of your talent skills, of your skill talent, of something that you're interested in. And so you get that support. Here in America, we're like, hey, pick a college, go pay a lot of money and learn something. And then jobs are like, oh, if you don't have a BA or you don't have this, then you're not gonna, you can't get hired. And it turns into a really difficult situation a lot of times, especially because there's a lot of people who don't have that money. So is that system set up for failure? Who knows? Is that system set up for, whatever? I know an engineer who makes really good money and he pays his student debts off. We know that Sarah is getting her doctorate, and she's going to have a lot of student loan debt. So, and she's smart, and that doctorate has helped her, and she's working on her doctoral doctorate. She's working on her doctorate right now. She's working on her paper. And she's getting that real life experience to build that paper and she's researching and she's looking, and that's where your knowledge comes, guys. Your knowledge comes from spending the time to just encase yourself in what you do. I am an accountability tech strategist, and the reason why is because when it comes to getting things done and organizing things and building those things, I can help you. I look at it from every single angle, and I can help you figure out the angle that works best for you, even if we're putting together two or three angles. I can also hear when people are hesitant on a plan that they have. Well, let's analyze that plan. Let's look at what that looks like and either feel better about it or change it so it is better, right? So it fits you. Um, so I work really hard in that area. And then when it comes to tech, look, to be a bragful, boastful person, you put me in front of a program, and I will figure it out in 2 days. If you give me notes on that program, I'm golden. So I can come into a program, I can spend a few days in it, and I can learn it. As well as the great thing about the internet now is if you don't know something, Google it. There is a YouTuber out there waiting to make money for you watching their video on whatever it is that you need assistance in. There's probably two or three of them, and three or four of them have different opinions on the matter. And so when you're able to look at that, you're going to learn a lot more. You're going to be able to see the different avenues and pick and choose what works for you. But inside of, knowing who you are and what you're good at, that's what you build around. That's your stance, right? Mine isn't, I mean, I've done I did college classes for tech, and I ended up being teacher's pet and helping people who were, not accomplishing things. I'm always in the classroom done before everybody. But that's not because I'm better than everybody. It's because that's the gift that I have, right? My brain cannot tell you any stats. I can't tell you anime movie. I like watching anime, but I don't know what ones I've seen. I can't tell you stats on sports. I have no idea. I cannot tell you actors. I know there's a hot guy in that movie and I really liked it. But other than that, unless they're very iconic people to me for specific reasons, I can't tell you. So my brain doesn't work some ways, but it works in tech and it's phenomenal in tech. And I haven't owned enough of that in my business, right? Part of this conversation is what are we owning up to when we're talking to people? What are we owning up to when we're like, hey, I can really help you with that because I'm one of the best. I don't, and here's the thing, guys. I really don't think that one person can be better than another person. I know that one person can know more than another person. But even if I know more than somebody, they might have a different look on it, right? They might have a different way to approach it and a better way to grow it. And that's why we have the Keystone Network, because when somebody comes in and asks a question about their methodology, we have five different people who have a completely different system. And so that one person gets to go away with five different ways to look at something, and they get to listen to what works for them, and then they make what works for them, or we ask them questions so that they can answer the question themselves, right? Because we can't tell somebody how to run their calendar. Nobody can tell you how to run your calendar. We can tell you to earmark hours for certain things. We can tell you to have it to where, you start your day with 10 minutes of, okay, what am I doing? Planning. Close out your day with 10 minutes of planning for the morning. Even though you're going to plan in the morning again, you want to at least have a game plan. I know for me, when I can come into the morning with a game plan, I can sit down, I can kind of stick to that structure, and I'm, formulated from the day before. It doesn't work all the time for people. Sometimes you wake up, you've got 3-year-olds running around the house, and you've got to do 30,000 things. And so to figure out a structure for yourself depends on what the 3-year-olds want to do that day. Managing your life is something that you can figure out. And the only thing that we as a team or we, the Keystone, or anybody who's talking to you can ask you is what's going to work? Do you have somebody to sit with? Do you have this? Do you have that? Um, and maybe, it's, hey, honey, you've got an hour after work so that you can kind of calm down and relax, but then I need the night to work. Or maybe it's, okay, my so and so who I know can babysit on these days between this time and this time, and that's when I'm going to work. And maybe it's I work from home, I have nobody around, and I don't have accountability. I need to go find accountability. I know that Sophia had me sign up for some ADHD groups in school. So I know that school has a lot of communities on that area. We, the Keystone Network, have an entire room dedicated to people just popping in. Donna is from Australia, and I'm so sad because Australia clocks in at about 2 o'clock Central Time is when Australia clocks in. Well, that's like 7 a.m. their time. And so they're still, starting their day. I don't even clock into work until 9, guys. And they're still starting their day. And sometimes, Dominic will always pop in and visit us when he's in. And Donna, she works later. And by that time, sometimes I'm asleep or sometimes I'm just winding down my day. And there's other times where, like last night, I just sat in the room with her and I played on my phone a little bit and I did a little bit of work. But we're building a space so that you're never alone. And Donna's like, yeah, I come in and even if nobody's here, it's my clock in time. She's clocked in, she's in the office, and that mentality part helps her focus. So we are working to build a space where business owners around the world get to just clock in. And if they have a question about something, we talk about it. Last night, Ferna had a phenomenal Q&A for Shackley, and she did a great job. And every single person who showed up there showed up from the Keystone Network because we are showing up and building for each other. Forrest has a phenomenal financial thing that he does on Wednesday nights. It's a paid program, and quite a few people have signed up for that. Know, like, and trusting everybody in this space has become a way for us to know who we can work with, but also for us to see that knowledge base, right? And sometimes the people around you see your knowledge base more than you do because of that imposter syndrome, because of that, I don't have this or I don't have that, or the world is expecting this information. And you're so worried about what the world expects that you're not actually looking at what you've actually accomplished. So I am here to tell you that you guys have accomplished greatness. I am here to tell you that you have done some amazing things, and running your business or building a business, when you get to the point where you're like, you know what, I am done. I have seen how the corporate world does it. I have seen how the small businesses do it. I have seen how people have done these things, and I want to do it myself. And I want to do it in a way that I feel is going to be more cohesive for clients. It's going to be more um, cohesive to who I am, and I want to make the money for myself. I don't want to make the money for other people. I want a cohesive business that I have seen how the clients work. I have seen the clientele experience, and I want to make sure that they are getting the top of the line product, and I know I can provide that. I've done research, I've looked. When you're at that point, you have the knowledge. When you start your business and you have done the research and you have looked at the other, at other people, and you are reaching out for help from anybody and everybody who has experience, even it doesn't have to be experience in your field, it can be experience in related fields or experience in any field, because business owners, I hate to tell you this, guys, we're all in it together. We all have to wear the hats. We all have to have marketing. We all have to have the promotions. We all have to post on LinkedIn. We all have to do all of these things. And I'm going to tell you, I'm a part of one group that specifically says LinkedIn has to be done this way. And I avoid when they do LinkedIn stuff because I don't link in the way that they link in. Is that a word? Link in? I don't link in the way they link in. Um, and that's okay. Nobody is right, wrong, or indifferent, but I won't sit in a place where I have to stringently do something somebody else's way. And that's what's important is if somebody is trying to put you in a box, don't sit there. Leave that box. Build your own. Build your own glass space, outdoor area, no walls, trees, and build your own space. Make it look like you want it to look. That's why Sarah and I have a virtual office. That's why the Keystone Network came around, because we wanted a place where people could simply be who they are. They could have adult conversation. They could have help in their business. And there's support, support in who you are and support in what you're doing. So I would love for you all to join us. But also, I would love for you to lean into who you are. Look at all of the things that have taken you to where you are today and own that. Be be who you are and stand firm in the fact that you have made it. It might be a struggle right now, it might be difficult right now. You might be scared. Trust me, I am scared every day of having to rely on my own income. Um, and I did. I gave into that fear and I got a job because as much as I want to, as much as I know that I am great at being an accountability and tech strategist and helping people through their businesses, I also know that I want security. And so me trying to get clients every week and me trying to do all of the hats, it's hard for me. So I found a part-time job that's going to pay my bills for my beautiful little house that I love and that I don't want to let go of. Um, Sarah and I talked about this the other day. Success is what you make success to be. Um, and failure is okay. If you have to close the business down because it just didn't work out due to whatever reason, so many businesses closed during COVID that had nothing to do with skills or ability. That had to do with COVID. It had to do with the fact that we were in an unknown and nobody knew how to come through that. People might have some ideas if it ever happens again, but at that time, nobody had a clue. So the ones that made it were amazingly lucky, and the ones that didn't, I know somebody who they started their business right when COVID started, and they didn't have a year's worth of like I think you had to be established for a year or two in order to get the government help, which is sad because the businesses that just started would have been the ones that needed the most support. So just know that when something quote unquote fails, it's not because you didn't do it right. It's not because, there could be those reasons, but it's not due to you not knowing what you were doing. It's not due to the lack of knowledge that you had in what your business was. It might have been lack of knowledge in running business, but definitely not what you were running that business for. And it could have easily been a lack of you weren't ready for it, right? So own who you are. If you are in an MLM and you are selling products, you know what you're doing. Do it. Yes, your upline is there as support, but you've been doing it for how many years you've been doing it for, or you have gone to all of the programs that they give you guys online. You have the knowledge. Lean into yourself. If you feel like you're not the expert, then learn a little bit more. But know that you know and are the expert. So I am excited to talk to you guys today. I look forward to many more lives. I did get a part-time job, so I don't know what times those lives are going to be, and I don't know how frequent they're going to be, but I'm going to try my best to do them as much as I can. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for everything, and I'm going to end this live. Thank you guys.